we have seen an overview on automation and Selenium WebDriver. Just we have seen a brief introduction. From today onwards, we will deep dive into Python programming. So as a part of that, this is what an introductory session where we will install PyCharm, Python, how you can run Python, PyCharm using this Python code. So we will see in this today's class. So very important class, very beginning to this Python. So where we will have all the installations here. Let me show you one by one how you can do installations. So first session, introduction to Python programming. Most of the people might be knowing this, but don't worry, please have some patience. So there are newbies as well, they need to understand. So what is a Python? As like other programming languages, Python is used for variety of purposes. So as a part of that, when I see the overall definition of Python, Python is an high level general purpose. Very important point, general purpose. Case sensitive programming language. Case sensitive programming language. Very important point, guys. When I am saying high level general purpose, high level means if it is a low level, machine can understand. If it is high level, humans can understand, can read, can write. So Python is like a simple English statements which are high level, which are at the high level. So when I am saying general purpose, not only for single purpose, it can be used for a wide variety of things. You talk about backend development. You talk about this data related stuff. You talk about this automation. You talk about these LLMs. So for different purposes, for wide variety of purposes, you will use Python. As I have said, Python is case sensitive programming language, not it's a case insensitive, case sensitive programming language. Suppose, let me make you understand. So this is what the variable, let me take the variable as var. I'm storing some value in this variable with 10. Now, if I specify another variable var, so if I store the value as 20. So when I use this print statement, when I specify var, similarly, when I specify capital VAR, what this will do, this small var will print 10. This capital VAR, which is a variable, will print 20. So that means variables which you are defined are having different letters, different characters, which are at lowercase at uppercase. So that is the reason if you define any variable or anything, it is in Python, it is a case sensitive programming language. Depending upon the case, you will be able to access the value. Python is a high level general purpose case sensitive programming language. Also, Python is open source language. Open source language. Open source language. That means you can see its source code. By seeing its source code as per your requirements, you can change its source code. Suppose there is a Linux at the very beginning, you have Unix operating system. So based on that source code, lot of companies like Red Hat, you'll be having a lot of companies where they have used that source code and they have implemented their own flavors. Similarly, if you have a specific requirement which is used for your company or for your requirement, for your purpose, you can see the source code of Python from which it has been implemented. You can modify its source code accordingly. You can use as per your requirements. So that means to make it to work it as per your requirements, you need to know the source code. So Python is an open source language. You can see its source code. Once you develop program in Python, that program you can execute in multiple platforms. When I'm saying multiple platforms, Windows operating system, Linux operating system, as well as Mac operating system. So in these multiple platforms, you can execute your Python program. So it is platform independent, platform independent. You can execute your code once you have written in one platform in another platforms as well. So one more important point, when you see the difference between different programming languages, let me show you here. This is what some demo websites which I have just taken for your a reference, guys. So you can see this is what a C compiler, this is what C++ compiler, Java compiler, Python compiler. So if you see what I am doing, I'm achieving same thing. What I am achieving, I need to print hello world in the console. When I click on run in the C, you can see it has been printed in the console. But what you need to do, you are achieving the same operation in multiple compilers. If you see here, this is C++ compiler, this is Java compiler, this is Python compiler. You can see it here. You are achieving the same results, but to achieve the same results in different programming languages, you need to write different lines of code. In C, you need to write almost some 6 to 7 lines of code. Similarly, C++ also. Similarly, Java also. In Java, without class, you cannot create anything. But coming to Python, with one single statement, what you are doing, you are achieving the same result, which is possible in other programming languages. So if you see the comparison between all these languages, Python is simpler than other programming languages. Simpler than other programming languages. Very important point. So that is the reason nowadays, if you can talk about these chat GPTs, which are based on LLMs, they need data. They need a data feed. So the data is provided by big data engineers. So most of the big data engineers nowadays, instead of Hadoop, since Hadoop is tightly coupled with big data engineering ecosystem, PySpark is mainly used, which everybody can learn Python within no time. They can able to achieve whatever they want. So it is simpler than other programming languages. This is what a brief introduction about Python programming. Once you know introduction, you need to understand history, from where this Python has been implemented. History of Python. History of Python. So you should know this history as well, because without you anyway will use this in your daily purposes, but you need to know from where this Python has been implemented. So Python implementation was started in December 1989. Most of the people will think Java is the first programming language than Python. It's absolutely false. Python is the first programming language which was implemented in 1989 by Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum, he is a scientist at CWI Labs. CWI Labs in Netherlands, nothing but Centrum Wiskunde and Informatica Labs in Netherlands. So in that labs, Guido van Rossum have implemented this Python programming language. Now, you might surprise why the name Python. Instead of Python, he could have named it some another name, right? The reason is during 1989, there is a program called Monty Python Flying Circus. Monty Python Flying Circus. This is what the program during 1989, it was displayed in BBC TV shows. So from this name, he has inspired. Also inspired by this name. So to name that particular language, that name should be short, unique, and slightly mysterious name. So when I am saying mysterious name, when I say that name, anybody should have some attention to that specific name. So that is the reason. So out of this multiple words, here he has taken Python. So Monty Python's Flying Circus is at the 1989 TV show in the BBC. So from that particular show name, he has inspired and he has taken Python as a programming language name. At the very beginning, when he was implemented this Python, like after 1989, first version, nothing but zero version has been released into market in 1991. So if you can see, this is what the hierarchy. 1981, WAN published code, which is at the 0.9.0 version. So 0th version, it is very first version in the market. So in 1994, he also released 1.0 with new features like Lambda, very important function, map function, filter function, reduce function. So these are all the important functions. When we discuss this functions concept, you will get to know what these type of functions are, how they are implemented, how they are used. So during 1994, in Python 1, he has added these new features. In Python 2.0, in the recent versions after 1994, he also added this lift comprehensions. Very compact way, very easy and simplest way to create list. He also introduced this garbage collection system. Like, if any variable is not being referenced, it needs to be deleted. Otherwise, there is a memory issue. So to avoid this, automatic garbage collection system has been implemented by when in Python 2.0. So on December 3, 2008, Python 3 was released. Right now in the market, we are having 3.xx version. So right now in our code, we'll be using that 3.xx version, which we'll be downloading it from official website. So December 2008 onwards, 3 is there in the market right now. So if you can see that official website, you can see the version of that Python. Now, he has implemented Python. Based on what he has implemented? Based on two programming languages, ABC language as well as Modular 3 language. So these are the languages which are there at that specific point of time. He has combined advantages of one language along with advantages of another language, which he has derived this Python programming language, which we'll be going to learn further. Now, once you know history of Python, you need to know how to work with Python. Before going to work with Python, you need Python in your local machine. Installation of Python. Installation of Python. So how you can install Python? You can install Python from the official website. From the official website. Let me make you understand how you can try to install that. Take a Google search for Python download. So this is what the official link, which you can see it here. Click on that official link. You can see right now in the market, you are having Python 3.12.5. So 3.xx version from 2008 onwards. Click on that. So if you are using Mac, if you are using Linux, click on this appropriate links, because most of the people are using nowadays Windows only. Let me make you understand how you can work with Windows. But let me provide you the material how you can install that in Linux or Mac operating systems as well. So click on this download Python. So you can see here, this is an exe file as well. So once you click on download, double click on that. You can see it here. There is a Python which is already installed in my local machine. So that is the reason you are seeing this particular message. Now, let me try to execute this. Yeah, let me try to show you that how it looks like. Let me open this code, Microsoft code. You can see it here. Once you click on that exe file, this particular window will appear. So this is what the window, it will appear into, it will pop up on your home page. So you can see it here, install now. These are the two options. First option, install now. Second option is customize installation. Once you click on install now, Python will be installed automatically. So before that, what you need to do, you need to check this particular checkbox. Add Python to path. The reason is, if you don't check this path, at the installation, what you need to do, you need to do it manually. How you can do? Search for environmental variables. You can see it here. This is what environmental variables. Click on that. So you can see these are all the system variables. In the system variable, there is a path. Edit that. So you can see Python is automatically installed it here. See, so let me show you that as well. So Python, yeah, you can see it here. So if you can see Python latest version, you can see Python latest version scripts. So let me edit that. So because system root is nothing but an environmental variable, in that environmental variable, I am storing that Python. So the same thing, you can see it here. It will be automatically added to this environmental variable if you just click on this checkbox at the very beginning. But if you don't check this, you need to do it manually. You need to click on edit. You need to add that particular path, like you can see it here, Python latest version script. I have customized this location, but in your case, don't try to do this. Just try to click on install button. Before clicking on install button, try to check this particular checkbox. Now, once you click on install now, once Python is installed in your local machine, what is the proof that it is installed in your local machine? So to check whether Python is properly installed or not, what you need to do, go to command prompt. So click on search bar, search for command prompt, click on open. So once you click on open, this is what the window it will open, command prompt window. Now you need to issue this command. What is that command? Python. Once you issue that particular command, you can see this is what the version which I have installed. So in your case, it may be 3.12.5. So yes, you can upgrade it. Otherwise, if you are already having in your local machine. So those who are beginners, once you click on download on that specific button, 12.5, it will be downloaded automatically. Once you install, you can see it here, 3.12.5 version, which is installed in your local machine. Now, along with this version, you can also see a prompt here. Prompt is nothing but asking for user input, waiting for user input. Suppose let me try to use it. Print of, so I'm just using 3 plus 5. This is what one input which I am just giving, 3 plus 5. You can see it here. Total result is 8. 8 has been printed in the console. So it is again asking for the prompt. It is again waiting for the user input. Now, once you again specify that input, it will be accordingly execute that action and it will give you the result. But this is not the proper place where you'll be going to code in future. But once you install Python, this is the way how you need to check. Once you install Python in your machine, you need to know how you can run that Python code. So to run that Python code, what you need to do, you have 3 ways. Any one of the way you can use and you can execute your Python code. So let me show you that. So if you can see ways to run Python code. Very important thing, guys. At the very beginning, you need to understand this. Ways to run Python code. So how you can run Python code? So there are 3 ways. Generally, we have not installed any PyCharm. We are only with respect to Python, we are executing our code. So what are the 3 different ways how you can run your Python code? First way is run through IDLE. IDLE is nothing but Python shell. Nothing but Python shell. IDLE, integrated development learning environment, not IDE. IDE is different. IDLE is different. IDLE is nothing but a shell. When you install Python in your local machine, it will be automatically available. So it is only meant for learning purposes. IDLE, integrated development learning environment. This name itself says learning. You are learning. So at the very beginning, you don't know how to write a complex program. So for that, you need to learn. For learning, you need this IDLE. So it is nothing but a Python shell. Where you can get this Python shell, just click on the search bar. So if you can see, search for IDLE. IDLE. Once you search for IDLE, this is what a app, you can see it here. Click on that. Once you click on that, you can see this is what an IDLE. As like in the previous case, when you are executing some simple input in the command prompt, the same input you can see it here. It is asking for the prompt. It is asking for the user input along with the version. Now, how you can run the code by using this IDLE? You can see it here. Let me print off welcome to Python programming. This is what the first statement. I'm just printing it here, guys. Welcome to Python programming. So once I click on enter, you can see here it is raising some error. The reason is so I am just specifying this capital P. So it should not be, it should be small p. As I have said, Python is case sensitive programming language. There is no statement in Python with the name capital print. It should be small print. So let me execute it one more time. Welcome to Python programming. This is what first statement which I am just printing. When I click on enter, you can see what the same thing has been printed in the console. At a time, you can execute, you can give input only one statement. But if you want to write multiple lines of code, which is if you want to become an automation tester, if you want to become a developer, only one single line, with one single line, you will not be able to achieve anything. You need to write multiple lines of code. First, to understand how you can write multiple lines of code in the IDE, you need to understand how you can execute some simple statements in IDLE, Integrated Development Learning Environment. Just you can learn it here and you can just write multiple lines of code. This is what by using first way, running through IDLE. This is what first way. Now, what is the second way? You can run Python code. Run Python code by using command prompt. CMD. So how you can achieve that? Just now we have seen. Let me open that one more time. Those who have missed. So this is what the command prompt. So once you search for Python, you can see it is asking for the prompt, which is there as like in the IDLE. So now what you can do, I can just issue some simple statement. Print of hello world. Hello world. You can see it here, guys. Now, if you can see, once I click on enter, the same statement has been printed in the console. Like IDLE, command prompt is also like IDLE. You can execute only one single statement at a time. Now, if you want to have multiple lines of code, which is only meant for some small purpose, what you can do, you can specify that particular code in some Notepad or Notepad++. So last way is run code through Notepad or Notepad++. You can use Notepad or Notepad++. So let me make you understand. Let me go to any of the C drive location, C drive folder. So if you can see, I'm just coming here. So in this C drive, so if you can see, there is a users. So inside users, you are having Dell. So inside Dell, let me create one simple. Let me delete this previous ones. Let me delete this. These are the things which I have created previously. So if you can see, let me right click on new, click on text document. So demo program. This is what the name which I'm just giving it here, guys. So once you can see, this is what a notepad which I'm just opening. In this notepad, what I will do, I'll just specify some simple statements. So print hello world. This is my first program. This is first statement. Now I have two variables. One is x, one is y. In x, I am storing 100 as a value. In y, I am storing 200 as a value. Post that, I am just doing arithmetic operation, which is addition between these two variables. Now, what I will do, once I specify my program in Notepad, what I need to do, I need to save this Notepad with a .py extension. Let me write that point. Save it with .py extension. .py extension. Otherwise, you will not be able to execute this Python code. Any Python module is nothing but is having .py extension. Python module .py file. .py file. It's a thumb rule, guys. You should not forget this. You should not forget this. .py file is nothing but Python file. Python file. That Python file, I can call that as an module. Let me specify that. So if you can see, let me save that with .py extension. So if you can see it here, I'm just clicking on file, save as, click on all files, demo program, .py. So with the .py extension, I am just storing it del folder. So click on save. So once you click on save, just click on close this. So if you can see it here in the same location, you can see there is another file with the .py extension. It's a Python file. Now you have specified your Python code in Notepad or Notepad++. You have saved that with the .py extension. Now you need to execute this code. How you can execute this code? So just click on terminal. Click on this search bar, click on command prompt. So you need to provide name of that file or module along with Python. So if you can see it here, Python, I'm specifying what is that file name, demo program .py. Once I specify the name along with Python, once you click on enter, you can see two statements have been printed. It is not like an IDLE. Multiple statements, multiple lines of code, you can specify in Notepad or Notepad++. You can execute that at a time. Hello world, this is my first Python program. X equal to 100, Y equal to 200, 100 plus 200, it is 300. Result has been printed in the console. This is how you can run your Python code by saving that code in Notepad or Notepad++ with .py extension. So these are three ways how you can run your Python code. Just only once you install Python, you can achieve all these things. But at the end of the day, what you need to do when working on real-time projects, when working on real-time projects, when working on real-time projects, will not prefer above ways, because you need to code lot of lines. For coding lot of lines, these are not the appropriate ways. So we will not use above ways. So instead of that, we use editors. We will use editors. Editors, I can also call them as IDE, integrated development environment. IDE is different, IDLE is different, IDE is different. Integrated development environment, development and learning environment. It is only for learning purposes. When I talk about this IDE, it is for development purposes, because in real-time projects you need to develop a lot of lines of code. For that you need this IDE. So most popular IDE with respect to Python for working with Python projects is PyCharm. Most of the people might be knowing this PyCharm, which is from JetBrains. So in this course, we'll be installing this PyCharm. As a part of this IDE, we will write a lot of lines of code as I have shown you in the first session for writing, for achieving an automation. Now what you need to do, you need to install PyCharm in your local machine. Installation of PyCharm. How you can install this PyCharm? As like you have installed this Python, you can install PyCharm also. Just go to Google. So search for PyCharm download. Once you search for, click on this PyCharm download, you can see this is what the official link. Click on that official link. So you can see it here. Once you open this official link, at the very beginning, you will see PyCharm professional version. But don't go ahead with professional version. What you need to do, you can install this community version. Community version is more than enough. When I go for this professional version, it's a trial version. Going ahead in upfront, you need to pay some amount. It is not required. Just to scroll down. Once you scroll down, you can see there is a PyCharm community edition name is available. So you can see it here. You can just, once you click on download, you can see a .exe file will be automatically downloaded. So if it is an ARM processor, you can just specify this particular file. If it is normal window, it's normal window processor, like you can just click on this .exe file. Anyone will work .exe file. So just to download this PyCharm community version, very, very important. Don't go ahead with professional version. Community version is more than enough for working with automation. Now, after installing this exe file, once you click on download, you can see it here. Download will be automatically started. You need to follow these steps. Let me specify that steps. So these are all the steps. Download and click install community version of Python. So from this particular link, you need to install that PyCharm. So if you don't know how you can install this from this specific version, I have specified a separate folder, softwares folder, in the Google Drive. Once you get access, you will be able to see that. So going ahead, you will be getting all the communications in the Google Drive along with the Google materials, session materials, course materials, all the stuff along with assignments. So once you install this community version, that means once it is downloaded, just go to downloads. So double click on that. Once you double click on that, you can see this is what the window you'll be able to see. You can see it here. Welcome to PyCharm Community Edition setup. Click on next. So you can see these are all the things which you can see it here. Uninstall old versions, because I am already having PyCharm in my local machine. So that is the reason it is showing you this particular message. So if you are having, it will show you this particular message. Just click on that checkbox. So right now I am not going to modify anything. Just click on next. So once you click on next, in this specific location, so inside program files, inside JetBrains, inside PyCharm Community Edition folder, this particular PyCharm Community Edition exe file will be installed. Click on next. So once you click on next, you can see this is what the important window, very important window, guys. Because you can see it here, add bin folder to path. As like in Python installation, you have checked this add path to add what I can say, add Python to path. Similarly, for PyCharm, bin is very important folder. You need to add bin to path. Nothing but path is nothing but environmental variables. So once you add path to environmental variables, not only from C drive, not only from one location. If you install anything to path, you can just run that, you can execute that, you can access that from any different locations, not only from C drive. Suppose if you are having D drive, E drive, or multiple locations as well. So this is what the advantage of adding path, adding variable to path, or adding any application to path. So as a part of that, you need to add bin folder to path. So once you add bin folder to path, these are all the other operations. Like you can just create desktop shortcut, update context menu. So if these are required, you can just check those checkboxes. So once you click on next, so this is what a JetBrains from the JetBrains Community Edition. So in this particular folder, it will be installed. So I'm not going to click on install because I already have this PyCharm in my local machine. If you don't know, even if you are not understanding this, I have specified step by step in the material. Just go through that. So I'm just clicking on cancel because I have already installed in my local machine. So how you can run this PyCharm? So to run this PyCharm, what you need to do, just click on the search bar, search for PyCharm. Once you search for PyCharm, you can see it here, PyCharm Community Version. This is what with version it will highlight here. Just click on open. So once you click on open, you can see it here. This is what the window at the very beginning. Once you install PyCharm, this is what the beginning window you will be seeing this. Now, one more important point. Before going to work with PyCharm, what you need to do, you have added bin folder to path during installation. Post that, what you need to do, you need to manually reboot that. You can reboot immediately, you can manually reboot later also. But my suggestion is reboot at that specific point of time where you have installed this PyCharm. So you can reboot later, or you can reboot instantly also. So these are reboot is required. So to get the system updated with PyCharm. So these are the important steps you need to follow during installation of PyCharm. So if you can see it here, this is what the very beginning page. What you need to do, you need to create a project. So for creating a project, there are three ways. You can open existing project which you have already in your local machine. So if there is a version control system which you are using, like a Git or GitHub, Subversion or a Bitbucket, you can get that particular project from that VCS version control system by using this specific option. So what we will do, right now we will create a new project in our local machine. Click on new project. You can give the project name as Selenium Python you can just specify this particular batch code. This is what a batch code which I am specifying for this batch, BOC 15E. So this is what the batch code. This is what the name of a project. Name is nothing but an identifier. Always an identifier should be a valid name. So there are some points which we will see going ahead. This is what the name of your project. You can specify any name, but that name should be meaningful name. You need to create the project inside this location. By default, once you install this PyCharm, it will create a location PyCharm projects inside C drive. Inside PyCharm projects only, your project will be created and saved. Once you install Python, by default, this is what the version of Python it is automatically taking. If you are having some another version, it will automatically take. Otherwise, just click on this drop down. You can see multiple versions of Python. Just click on an appropriate version. Once you select this Python version, just click on create. Once you click on create, it is right now creating virtual environment for this project. It will take some time to initiate virtual environment. So this is what a project window. Inside this project window, you can see it here, project name. Also inside this project, you are having this virtual environment. Whatever the packages which you are installing, that will be there inside this virtual environment specifically for this project. So going ahead, you will understand. You can just click on file. You can just click on new project from version control system. All these options are self-explanatory. Once you get a time, just go through each and every option in the pie chart. Right now, I'm just creating a directory. Right click on this directory, which is a project. Just mouse over onto new. Once you mouse over onto new, you can see multiple options. Again, I'm repeating one more time. This is what the project, which is a root directory. Inside this root directory, you will be creating a packages, you will be creating a directories. Inside the directories or packages, you will be creating a modules. First thing, right click on this. Once you right click on this, you can see multiple options. So one of the option is new. New means you can create a file, you can create a directory, you can create a package. Package is different, directory is different. Directory is different, package is different. We will see the differences going ahead. Also, you can create a Python file. You can create an HTML file, Docker file. Lot of options are available to create. Just click on that directory. You need to provide a name of the directory. So this is day 2. Day 2, yesterday we have discussed day 1, some important concepts with respect to automation testing, overview on automation as well. This is the second session, so I'm just creating a directory of day 2. Just click on enter. Once you click on enter, you can see a directory is created. Inside this directory, I will create a Python file. How you can create a Python file? Right click on this directory. Once you right click on this directory, again you can see an options, multiple options. So one of the option is new. When you mouse over onto new, you can see it here. One of the option is Python file. Just click on that Python file. Inside a directory, inside a location, you are just creating a Python file. Just to specify name of the Python file. In this case, I'm just specifying hello world.py. Hello world is what name of the module. Every Python file is nothing but a module. Very important point. .py files. .py files are called as modules. Very important point. Any file with .py extension is called as module. So inside module only, you will be able to write a code by using Python programming language. I'm writing some simple statements. If you see here, print of hello world, hello world. This is my first program. Also, along with this statement, you can have multiple statements as well. You can just print 10 plus 20. You can just print 20 minus 10. Once you write the statements, how you can run this? Here also multiple ways. Right click on the module. Once you right click on the module, you can see one of the option as run hello world. Just click on that. Also, one more way is just click on the green button on top right corner. There is a green button. Once you click on run on this green button, it will run this module hello world.py. Also, one more way, just to click on terminal. One beautiful feature of this PyCharm IDE is it has inbuilt support to work with command prompt. Terminal here is nothing but command prompt in your system. By default, once you click on this terminal, it will open that command prompt inside this project location. This is what the project location. Inside this project location, it will open that terminal. Once it is opening that terminal, you can specify some command py module name. Inside this directory, you are having another directory day2. Inside day2, you are having hello world.py. You need to execute this module. So three ways. Just right click. First way, click on run hello world. Once you click on run hello world, so these are the statements. It is printed. Hello world, this is my first program. Also 10 plus 20, it is 30. This is what the console. You can see the results after executing the statements. 20 minus 10, it is 10. This is first way. Right click, run hello world. What is the second way? Just click on this green button on the top right corner. Once you click on this green button, the same result as like in the previous case has been printed in the console. Also, one more way. Just click on this terminal. Just to specify py wherever module is present. Inside Selenium Python BOC15E, this is what the root directory. Inside this root directory, you are having another directory day2. Inside day2, you are having hello world.py. Hello world.py. This is what a module name which is present inside this directory. Just click on enter. Specify the location of your file. Just click on enter. Once you specify location of the file, once you click on enter, you can see hello world. This is my first program has been printed in the console. 10 plus 20, it is 30. 20 minus 10, it is 10. This is how at the very beginning, you need to have PyCharm. You need to know how you can create a directory, how you can create a module, how you can execute some statements which you have written.